There we go. Dino, this is Alex Martel, my good friend and co-host.
Mr. Radja, it's a pleasure to meet you. I'm a huge Celtics fan.
Nice to meet you too.
So do you just want me to ask away, or?
Yeah, go right ahead, man.
Truth.
All right. So first of all, thank you for joining us. It's wonderful to have such an accomplished player join us. Secondly, so in all the major sports, soccer, basketball, there's these prestigious franchises. You got like Real Madrid, Barcelona. For baseball, you got the New York Yankees. And for basketball, it's the Boston Celtics. So my question for you is, what was it like joining like the most historical franchise in basketball's existence?
It's a dream come true. I never even dream about that. I couldn't dare to dream about that. Back then, the NBA was like a myth to us. We couldn't see the games like you can see them today, or the highlights, or you heard about some names, you saw maybe some highlights somewhere, but I heard about the rivalry between Celtics and Lakers, but we couldn't watch it anywhere. Maybe somebody did a tape from somewhere, and then back then it was PAL and NTSC system, different European and the US, so you couldn't even get the tapes from US and watch them. You had to have a different video recorder in order to watch it. So it was really impossible to have the knowledge about, and so when they came to me and asked me, do I want to play, it was like, prank, felt like a prank to me, and like, candid camera, something like that.
Right. Yeah. So obviously things have changed now. There's a ton of European players. But when you first joined around the mid-90s, there was like this stereotype like that European players were soft, like, which is completely untrue. But did you like experience that at all, where people were like kind of questioning whether you were really like good?
Definitely. When Doncic came to NBA, they gave him the key of Dallas, and when I came to NBA, they gave me the bag with the dirty, jerseys to watch.
Right.
And, that was different approach, but still, somebody had to discover America, so we did that.
Yeah. So obviously, being in the 90s NBA basketball, you played with some of the toughest players, I'd say, the Knicks, the Detroit Pistons types of players. Are there any funny trash talking stories or anything you got for us?
It was really great to play. I mean, as much as they beat you up, but it's something that I wouldn't change. Playing against Rick Mahorn and Lambier and Mason and Oakley, I wouldn't change that for nothing. That's something that I really cherish in my career, and I love, as much as hard it was. I love it. I mean, Mason broke my hand with elbow, not intentionally, but that's how hard they play. And still, I love it.
So during the NBA's recent history, there's been a lot more European players, but it started out with guys like Hakeem the Dream. Then there came along guys like you, Tony Kukoc, Drazen Petrovic, Arvydas Sabonis, all the way until like you had Tim Duncan, Dirk Nowitzki, and it seems like Giannis, Embiid. These guys are running the NBA now. So
most of these guys came from different countries, but they were born and raised basketball-wise in US. Tony, myself, Divac, Sabonis. We came from Europe as already built-up players, and Hakeem,
right,
and then Duncan and all these guys. They were basketball, born and taught in US. So I don't think they belong to this group. But I'm very proud to be the pioneer one of the pioneers that discover NBA and then show America that Europeans can compete in NBA. That's why today the door is pretty much wide open to many players.
Right. So you got a lot of big men from Europe that can shoot from, especially the type of Dirk type of players, the Gasol brothers, yourself. Has that always been a thing in Europe where no matter how big you are, you have to be able to like shoot the ball?
When I got in a big league here in Croatia, my coach told me if you want to be like, it was me and Divac back then, like two young, 16, 17, 18-year-old coming out. And my coach told me, if you want to be a better player than him, you have to run more than him. And I didn't understand that back then, because big guys back then were, in the paint, not running as much, very slow. And I think that two of us transformed the position of the big guys in Europe, because we all of a sudden were guys who were running like guards and being first in fast break and being able to put the ball in a dribble, which back few years before us, big guys wouldn't dare to put the ball on the ground. So in many ways, I felt like a pioneer, and I'm very proud of that. Those things. I feel that impact of my generation, not just myself. Impact of my generation was huge on the world basketball.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's a lot of the European players completely revolutionized the game with just the different types of things they brought over. Like, for instance, Manu Ginobili brought over the Euro step. Now you see guys like James Harden use that as one of their primary moves. I think European players have impacted this game tremendously.
Definitely.
So I don't know if you would consider this the highlight of your career, but in '92, you faced the Dream Team. You got the silver medal against the Dream Team, which was known as the best collection of talent that has ever played on a court. So what was it like playing against like all these all-time greats?
Definitely, it was highlight of my career. Definitely, it was. When you say these names, you just. I don't want to say a bad word. Are you still recording this?
Yeah.
Shit in your pants, Barkley, Malone, Ewing, Jordan, Pippen, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Stockton, all these guys, these legends that you read about and you admire very much, and you have an opportunity to play against them twice in the same tournament. It was huge. It's like when you have Martians come today and want to play basketball with the Europeans or world national team. It would be that kind of surprise.
Right. Yeah. That must have been something else. Just running with them, just like, man, I'm playing with these guys and I'm right here with them. I'm running up and down with them. It had to have been unbelievable. So in your Hall of Fame speech, you said, once a Celtic, always a Celtic, which I loved as a big Celtic fan. I love it. And I wanted to know, do you follow them at all currently? And are there any players that you like on the team?
That's the only team I follow.
Attaboy.
Beside the teams that Croatian players play for, so you follow them because you need to know how they are doing for the national team. But I only follow Celtics. I only watch Celtics, and I'm still in contact with a few people from Boston. I love Boston. I love coming to Boston. It's part of my life, and never change that part.
Yes. So obviously when you first got to the NBA. I believe it was 1993. Is that correct?
Yeah.
93. So when you get in there and you walk in the Boston Garden and you look up and you see all the banners across the rafters, what was that feeling like? Like just knowing like I can do something really special.
You know, you are a kid from a little city that is smaller probably than downtown Boston, and you are about to enter the floor where Havlicek stole the ball. So that's what I was hearing in my head. You are entering the court where Havlicek stole the ball, and that's something that any NBA fan knows for that sentence.
Yeah.
So, it was an unbelievable feeling until the moment that I stepped actually on the court. Then that all this nervousness evaporated. But before I entered the floor, I was very, very much nervous.
So is there any players from Croatia that reach out to you for like help on their game and that you train with? Or is there anyone that you kind of mentor?
I'm working. First, I worked 10 years for my home
Okay.
team, and then now in the last 3 years, I work with the national team. So I have many opportunities to do things with different, players, and also I have opportunity to work with the youngsters, with 14, 15, 16, 18-year-old kids. And then I do some camps, and I even do some stuff for the junior NBA, and going on these Final Fours, talk to the kids, and it's good to share some experience, and people take interest in that.
And this is my final question for you. Is there any player that you've worked with, that you've mentored, that you think is going to be really special, that's come into the league that maybe hasn't come yet?
Young guys, there is a guy named Roko Prkacin. He's a 19-year-old playing for Cibona Zagreb, and he is the guy who I think will leave the mark in basketball.
Okay, well, that's great to hear. Yeah, hopefully the Celtics will snag him up too.
Hopefully, he's a project. He still needs some time. He needs to be patient, not jump the levels. He has to go, step by step.
Right.
Because many guys rush in NBA and they are stuck on bench or on D leagues, and they don't develop as well as they could.
So that's pretty much all I had to ask. Thank you again.